So to begin with, the 1954 original Godzilla is more than a monster movie. It's actually, in essence, a well-aged commentary on nuclear conflict and the deadliness of tinkering with the forces of nature. It has since inspired more than 30 sequels, including both Japanese and American films, uniting other kaiju and monster characters like Mothra, Rodan, and King Kong in a cinematic universe. Godzilla has also battled aliens, dragons, and many more in his many continuations. While Godzilla is many a time stated to appear at least a decade after the end of World War II, here in -1, he will be making his first landfall in Japan just weeks after the end of the Second World War, and maybe he will disappear and come back a few years later when Japan is rebuilding itself, only to tear it back to dust and rubble, to -1. So this brings us to the topic of comparing -1 with the original in terms of size, design, powers, and overall role in the storyline. So let's get to it. Firstly, we might have a slight error in our estimation of -1's size, and I do concede that it might have to do something with our desire with the big G being as big as possible. In an earlier video we got him to be around 60 meters or 200 feet tall, and I admit we have to do a re-estimation of Godzilla -1 based on the released teaser image that was showcased yesterday. In this image, Godzilla seems to be a bit smaller than what we had anticipated him to be. Just a bit though. So by analyzing the wreckage and the vehicles we see near him in this photo, we can now tell you for sure that this Godzilla is 10 meters lesser than what we deemed him to be earlier. He is 50 meters or 164 feet tall. So where does that put him in comparison with the original Godzilla in size? So since this is a reboot of sorts and would probably showcase remade scenes that were iconic from the first movie ever, -1 Godzilla should also re-embody the original, who was also 50 meters or 164 feet tall. That means that he is in the Showa era's size range, meaning he's only a bit shorter than the Millennium series Godzilla and only 10 meters or 32 feet shorter than GMK, and therefore doesn't come even close to Legendary's or Shin's height, never mind Godzilla Earth. But that's good in a lot of ways, because as a 50 meter tall Godzilla, he would be even scarier than the gargantuan versions, who seem to be oblivious to individual humans. At least on this scale, he would be able to interact with humans in a way which is more personal and believable, and yeah, even the fight with the military would be more interesting. Imagine the tanks and the missile explosions on the Monsterverse Godzilla in San Francisco being twice bigger. Well, that's what we would see with a -1 that is less than half the size. The battles would be more impactful, as well as more frightening, rather than being impersonal as if shelling a mountain, as in the case of the bigger ones, or as you could see in Godzilla Earth. So let's see the differences between the design of the Shodai Goji, the first official Godzilla design, and the one in -1, which are striking in differences. Shodai Goji features a classic Godzilla appearance with charcoal grey scales, a small reptilian head with a white mouth, and downward pointing black pupils, and also staggered, forward curving dorsal plates. Its body is barrel shaped with wide shoulders, short and muscular legs, and plantigrade feet. In contrast, -1 takes on a more eldritch and sinister appearance, with dark brown and black scales, irregular textures. Its face resembles the Heisei Stan Winston's Final Wars hybrid, featuring a curved snout, bright yellow eyes with visible pupils, and well-defined teeth. The most distinctive feature is its dorsal plates, which are thorn-like and give a horrific impression. -1 also has massive theropod-like legs with 4 toe claws, and also eagle-like talons on its hands, and a tube-like round-tipped tail. The entire design exudes a more menacing and otherworldly aesthetic, setting it apart from the traditional Godzilla template. Okay, let's go on to the atomic breath, which is the primary ranged attack of Godzilla, and it has been seen since the first movie and always has never skipped any of the other versions. Well, except for the TriStar version, who had something of a power breath? I don't know. Anyway, the atomic breath was first represented as a literal aerosol breath of radioactive air that could superheat and destroy dense materials, including cars, steel towers, bridges, and of course slow-moving Japanese people. Later, representations of Godzilla's atomic breath has taken on the visual appearance of death rays, which will be seen in this version of -1 as well. It'll have the same effect, but having a much cooler looking and probably deadlier breath on a large scale. it will be displayed as a concentrated beam of white or blue energy surrounded by a blue corona. And yeah, whenever Godzilla is preparing to release his bioweapon, the plates along his spine, the dorsal plates, will begin to glow blue, as seen in the release image as well as a certain scene in the trailer. So with that out of the way, let's go on to his origins in both the continuities. Well, in the 1954 film Godzilla, it was revealed that the monster was originally a prehistoric reptile creature from deep below the ocean floor, or on the ocean floor. However, its life took a drastic turn when it became exposed to radiation from nuclear testing conducted by the United States in the Pacific Ocean. The massive doses of radiation led to its rapid growth to an enormous size. In this original timeline, fueled by anger and the changes in its habitat as well as himself, Godzilla directed its fury towards humanity. He began by destroying any boats he encountered and eventually unleashed his devastating wrath upon the city of Tokyo, showing no mercy to anyone in its path. And as we have seen in the trailers and the Origins teaser of -1, it seems that this version would follow the same path, although there might be certain time differences, maybe from 1954 in the original to 1947 here in -1, based on the date and year that is seen in the letter sent by General Douglas MacArthur to the Prime Minister of Japan, warning him of a massive aquatic organism, which is none other than Godzilla himself, heading towards the main islands of Japan. So what do you think? Oh yeah, now that we have covered their similarities and differences in this sort of comparison video, let's ponder about how -1 will be killed in the movie, or whether or not he will be killed. Well, there are three possibilities. First is the United States dropping another atomic bomb on him while he is in Japan, furthering the dangers and message about atomic weapons, their usage in the world, and the dangers that might lead to, mutual assured destruction, which was also the theme of the monster himself. Second, they follow on the footsteps of the original, and we get the oxygen destroyer weapon killing him, like it did with the first one. And thirdly, he might be either trapped as in the case of Heisei Godzilla, or he swims away for unknown reasons, like the Monsterverse version. In short, he survives for another attack or another return of Godzilla sequel. Well, that sounds fun. Anyway, we have come to the end of this video, and I hope you have enjoyed watching it. Do hit the like button for support, and subscribe, but most of all, smash that bell icon for regular updates on new videos right here on this channel, especially Godzilla videos. Till the next time, take care, fam.